The jungle does not welcome outsiders. It presses in from every direction, thick with heat, insects, and silence that feels alive. For many armies, this is terrain to avoid, a place where technology struggles and visibility disappears. For Filipino soldiers, this is where training begins. The Philippines is shaped by jungle. Mountains rise quickly from the coast. Forests swallow roads, and humidity drains the body long before an enemy appears. Over generations, Filipino soldiers learned that survival here depends not on heavy armor or long supply lines, but on endurance, awareness, and trust in the person beside you. The jungle punishes hesitation and rewards adaptability. Training is not designed to be comfortable. Soldiers learn to move through dense vegetation where every step could reveal a position. They learn to read the ground, broken branches, disturbed soil, sounds that do not belong. In the jungle, sight is limited, so other senses sharpen. Listening becomes as important as seeing. Patience becomes a weapon. Heat is the first opponent. Humidity slows breathing and weakens muscles. Rain turns paths into traps. Filipino soldiers train to function anyway. They learn how to ration water, how to prevent illness, how to keep moving when exhaustion sets in. This conditioning is not theoretical. It is lived, repeated, and enforced until it becomes instinct. Small unit tactics define jungle warfare, and Filipino forces specialize in it. Squads operate independently, making decisions without constant direction. Leadership is decentralized because communication can fail at any moment. Every soldier is expected to think, adapt, and act. This flexibility is what allows them to survive where rigid formations collapse. History shaped this approach. Decades of real combat against insurgent groups forced Filipino soldiers to master terrain that offered no clear front lines. Engagements were unpredictable, often close and rarely forgiving. Mistakes carried immediate consequences. Over time, this created a combat culture grounded in realism rather than display. Camouflage is not just worn, it is practiced. Soldiers learn how light shifts under jungle canopy, how movement catches the eye, how stillness can make someone invisible. They learn to blend not only with the environment, but with its rhythm. When to move, when to wait, when to disappear entirely. Other armies often rely on vehicles, air support, and advanced sensors to dominate the battlefield. In the jungle, those advantages fade. Dense cover limits visibility, electronics fail. Heavy equipment slows movement. Filipino soldiers train for these moments, operating light, carrying only what they can sustain, trusting skill over hardware. The jungle also tests morale. Isolation is constant. Missions last days or weeks. Sleep is limited, comfort is non-existent. Filipino soldiers are trained to endure this mentally as much as physically. Shared hardship builds cohesion. Humor survives even in exhaustion. This psychological resilience is as critical as marksmanship. What makes this training stand out is not aggression but control. Jungle warfare demands restraint. Civilian populations live close to conflict zones. Engagements require precision. Filipino soldiers are trained to distinguish threats quickly and act decisively without unnecessary force. Discipline is survival. As global militaries increasingly prepare for urban and high-tech conflicts, jungle warfare remains a blind spot for many. Yet large parts of Southeast Asia, the Pacific, and other regions remain dominated by similar terrain. In these environments, experience outweighs equipment, and familiarity outweighs fear. Joint exercises have revealed this reality. Foreign troops often struggle with pace, heat, and navigation, while Filipino soldiers move confidently through terrain others find overwhelming. It is not because they are stronger, but because they are accustomed. The jungle is not an obstacle to them. It is a workspace. This expertise has strategic value. Any force operating in jungle terrain must consider the advantage of those who know it best. Filipino soldiers do not need to conquer the jungle. They coexist with it. That difference changes outcomes. In the end, jungle warfare is not about dominance. It is about survival. It is about understanding limits and pushing them carefully. Filipino soldiers are trained for the kind of war others avoid, not because it is dramatic, but because it is real. If you stayed to the end, understand this truth. The most dangerous battlefields are often the quietest. Subscribe now, because the stories that define modern warfare are not always fought in cities or skies, but deep in places where the jungle still decides who endures.